Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyaptadehaye Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Namah Pranavarthaye Shuddha-jnanaikamurtaye Nirmalaya Prashantaye Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Kataksha Kirana Chanta
कटाक्ष किरणा चांत
Naman Mohabdhaye Namaha
नमन् मोहाब्धये नमः
Anant Ananda Krishnaya
अनन्तानन्दतृष्णाय
Jagan Mangalamurtaye.
जगन्मङ्गलमूर्तये
If we don't really know what we want, like the rabbit in Alice in Wonderland, you go any direction, it doesn't matter. The problem is that most people are not really clear about what they want. Now, you would have seen many people who retire struggling. And that comes from the fact that as long as they're working, they had something to do. Every day they had a target, every month they had a target, every quarter they had a target of some kind. And suddenly they retired, they don't know what to do. They have no purpose. And then they become a nuisance in the house. Have you heard this? There was one Bengali lady I knew who said after her husband retired, she said, as long as he was working, I was getting full salary and only half of him. Now that he's retired, I get only half the salary and all of him all the time. I don't want that. So what happens? Because no purpose, don't know what to do. So you go to the kitchen and notify what is there, what is not there, why is it kept here, why is not this done here, and irritating everybody else in the process. I can see a lot of people smiling because it's probably happening in life. No purpose. You don't know what you want. People in the West talk about midlife crisis. What is midlife crisis? Same problem. As long as the children are with them, they have something for which they have to do something. Okay, I have to take care of my children, I have to give them education, I have to do whatever. And then by 16, children in the US fly off. Now you don't know what to do. This is a fundamental problem because your basic requirement of what you want, you don't know. And this whole thing then starts with an assumption that we make, or many assumptions we make. And the most fundamental assumption we all make is, I am what is in this Sharira. Whatever is in the Sharira, I am that. Therefore, everything that I relate to in this Jagat, in this world, is this I and non-I, everything else. Then this also can be negated very easily. You know that. Some of you have been attending, doing Shravanam for a while. You know that this can be easily negated. Leaving one hanging with this question of saying, then what am I? Who am I? I have removed all that I thought I was through logical analysis, I still don't know what I really am. That leads to other questions. If it is true that I am what is in the Sharira, why am I here? What is my purpose? What am I doing here? Then, since you don't have any other clarity on this, you start making further assumptions with no basis. I'm here to enjoy myself. There are people who have that philosophy. You develop a philosophy. I'm only here to enjoy myself. There also you can enjoy yourself within dharma or crossing dharma. And we all know that any enjoyment that you try and gain by crossing dharma brings its own conflicts. So where is the enjoyment? Where is the happiness? Not there. You can pretend it is there. You can be aggressive about it and say, oh, I can do this, I'll do it again. But the fact is that anything outside of dharma will cause a lot of conflicts. So we're talking about gaining enjoyment within the scope of dharma. And some other people will have a lofty idea. They will say, no, my purpose in life is to help other people or other beings. Therefore, I go around helping people who can't help themselves. Wonderful. But that is again a philosophy. What is the basis? I don't know. In some form that seems to give me a ego boost, some kind of a satisfaction. Maybe. Yet another group of people will tell you, my purpose on this earth is to live life in such a fashion that I go to heaven, etc. Heaven, Jannat, Swargaloka, whatever. Like this, you develop philosophies with no basis. On what basis have I arrived at this? I have to have a purpose. So I'm just developing my own philosophy. I've read a book where somebody has developed this philosophy. It sounds logical to me. Therefore, I'm following that philosophy. Did you ever stop to question, is that really so? Why do you want to enjoy yourself? Why do you want to help other people? Why do you want to go to Swarga, etc.? If you ask yourself those questions and do some deep thinking, you can always find out that that cannot be the end purpose. If my only purpose is to enjoy myself, and then I say, okay, I enjoy myself, knowing very well that that enjoyment I am seemingly getting is not real in the sense that it does not last. It is also part of a whole spectrum of where I have unhappiness and happiness in the same scale. I know that. So when I question myself, why do I want that? No, I want to increase my level on that scale. Think about it. If your purpose is to only enjoy yourself, then the question that often arises is, what happened when you enjoy yourself and then the body falls, you die? What happens? Big question to think about. So, all humanity is directing themselves in this kind of discussion only. And all kinds of schools of thought, all kinds of philosophies are developed. When a person examines these in some detail, and we all have the capacity to examine this, we start wondering, am I missing something? Is there something that I should know that I don't know? Is there anybody else who knows that? And if you're born in Bharat, even if you've been converted into some other religion, in the heart of hearts, everybody recognizes that rishis of yore knew something more than I do. Somewhere at the back of the mind is always there. They knew something. What it was, I don't know. There was something that is there. There has to be something which I have to figure out. How do I find it? That is when we do this pariksha lokan, examine everything, and say, what is it that I want? What is it that these rishis knew which I can try and gain? How do I gain? Is it simply because the rishi has a long white dadi? He's a wise man, I can go to him. Maybe he'll tell me. I don't know, but there is something missing. And this comes only through this kind of vichara. Look around. That, as we saw in the last class, leads one to a little deeper examination and arrive at the possibility that what I'm looking for is to be happy. And if I want to be happy, I don't want that happiness constrained by anything. So I'm looking for sukha. My desire is for sukha. But I have experienced some sukha, but it doesn't last. Therefore, what I'm looking for is not that kind of sukha, but a sukha which is independent of everything and therefore has no change. Call it nitya sukha. Oh, is this the secret that the rishis knew? Then you read somewhere that there is something called moksha, which is absolute freedom, absolute happiness. Wouldn't it be wonderful if I could also get hold of that? But that is not available. I can't go to the supermarket or go to Big Basket and order, please send me moksha. You can't get moksha like that. That happiness that you're seeking is not going to be available like that. Where is it going to come from? Then when you do a little bit more examination, then you see maybe my starting point was there's a problem with that. You know, many of these logic problems, I used to love doing them one time. If you start with the wrong assumption, you will never get it. Simple puzzles, logical problems, you will go round and round in circles. Anything you want to find out, your starting point assumption is not correct. You will never get to the final end. So maybe I'm making a mistake somewhere there. I need to re-examine my assumptions. How do I find out? Who do I go and ask? If moksha has to come, then I have to figure out how. I have to understand where are the errors that I'm making. I have to gain that knowledge. Then I convert that desire for moksha into a desire for knowledge. Knowledge immediately means you need a source of knowledge, a pramana. And this step by step, one comes to a point where it says, okay, what is the pramana for this? What is the source of knowledge for this? Is it the book on psychology? Is it Quran? or The Art of Living book by Sri Sri. We examine all of them and then say, there is a whole science behind what can be a pramana, a source of knowledge. It has a lot of clear-cut specifications of what can be a pramana. Pramana must have a specific topic, subject it deals with. It must be such that it cannot be contradicted. No other pramana should contradict it. It should not have any contradictions within itself. All these things are there. So when you go through that kind of a process, which I hope one of these days we will do, on a vichara on pramana, you can arrive at the fact that the only place where you can find this source of knowledge is Veda. Not books on psychology, not any religious texts, but Veda. In specific, Veda Anta. So this desire for moksha converts to desire for knowledge, which then converts into desire for understanding the pramana. How do we understand the pramana? We saw it in the last class. Atmavare shrotavyam, mantavyam, nididhasitavyam. If that is the process I have to follow, then I have to ask myself, what is shrotavyam? What is the shruti? What is it that I should do? Shravanam is defined as a consistent, regular, systematic study of Vedanta, subject of the Vedanta, for a length of time. How long should be the length of time? Depends on you. How well prepared you are. Under a live guru. This is the definition of Shravanam itself. Therefore, we start by sitting in the class with other shishyas, listen to the guru, get our minds stirred up, and start contemplating on what the guru says. That itself is tough, because what the guru unfolds from the Shastra is going to be so different from what I thought I knew. Therefore, I have to go through this process, like I said, for a length of time. And then there is a statement in the Shastra. If you want to be sukhi, you want happiness, and that is nitya sukha, it is not dependent on anything else, there's only one way. And that has to be because I am the source of sukha. Cannot come from anywhere else. No, Swami, there are so many things that give me sukha. I buy a new car, I get sukha. There is a child born in the house, I get sukha. I win a lottery, I get sukha. Think about it, really? Is that the source of your sukha? Or is it like a reflection in a mirror? You are the source of sukha, says Shastra. And somehow these things appear to give you an alpa reflection of the sukha. And therefore they look as if, okay, this is sukha. But you tell me, any one of these, I got married, I got sukha, how long? I bought a new car, I got sukha, how long? There was a new child born in the house, great sukha in the house. And then he turns to, starts throwing tantrums, and from there is no further growth. How would you connect that with the sukha? How do you connect a situation or an object or even a relationship with sukha, knowing very well that the same object, same situation, same relationship, which seems to give me sukha, which I know is not going to last, at the same time is a point of pain for another person. One person wants to divorce his wife because that marriage has become a source of pain. Another person wants to marry the same lady. She's become a source of sukha. How is it going to last? How are you going to relate to it? There is no sukha from there. Any sukha that you experience in this world is only like a mirror reflection. No more than that. Only source of sukha is you. This is the truth that Vedanta exposes to us. Any sukha, any happiness, any peace that I get from the world will come and will go. That is not satisfying. That is not what I'm looking for. The same large amounts of money that I thought gave me sukha caused a lot of pain, burn for me. In the gaining of that, in the preserving of that, and after it goes away. All the time. You look at a very rich person, you look at the Ambanis and say, oh, how happy he must be. Please go and spend a week with Ambani. Ambani has a son who has a medical problem. What sukha can he get? Ambani is now being given tax notices. What sukha is the wealth going to bring in? Ambani built a big house called Antilla. Waqf board claims it now. What sukha is that Antilla going to give him? All these are illusory. They come, they go, they come, they go. They seem to give me some sukha. Not what I want. They are alpa sukha. That is not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for sukha. Now, when I say something like this, that I am looking for sukha which is absolute, a lot of questions come to the mind. Is such a thing possible? Swamiji, I've been living in this jagat for 50 years. I've never seen anybody get this. I've seen lots of people making an attempt. They all get little sukha. But is there something called absolute sukha? Is it possible even? Big doubt. We are not the only ones. Arjuna had the same doubt. Is such a thing there at all? Even when we ask this question, like I said, at least for us born in Bharat Desha, we know that there is something I'm missing. There is something the ancient rishis knew which I'm missing. Even while all these doubts come, that is also there all the time. And then, okay, let's assume such a thing is there. But can I get it? I am only an ordinary mortal fellow. I can't even, forget about that sukha. I can't even gain the sukha that I want because I wanted to buy a car and I can't buy a car. Even that sukha I'm not able to get. We've been married for 15 years. We don't have a child. I've been wanting a child so many years. Such a limited person I am. And you're telling me I am the source of all happiness. So those doubts will come. But let us assume for a minute it is true. Wouldn't it be wonderful? Wouldn't it be wonderful if you can have access to that? Yes, that is true. If knowledge is moksha, jnanameva moksha, and I have all these doubts about that knowledge, how can I ever get moksha? I got all this knowledge because I attended a lot of Shramanam sessions. When the Guru spoke about this, it all sounded correct and logical. And then I went home and my wife asked me, what is Swamiji saying? I can't even explain to her what I heard. Because he said, you and Paramatma are the same. Bapre. You? Paramatma? What are you talking about? I've known you for 20 years. I know who you are. Don't talk about being Paramatma. You're not convinced. You can't convince somebody else because you're not sure. Shastra does help a little bit by saying, yes, we will not straight away tell you are Parameshwara. We will keep it in the background and we'll give you a whole lot of logical steps in which to try and understand the statement. So you have the Upanishads, which are cryptic, which are high-level knowledge, which definitely open themselves to a lot of doubt. Then we also have a whole lot of Prakarana Granthas. One we studied recently, we just finished it, called Vivekachudamani. It expounded everything. It said, who is eligible for this knowledge? Who is the adhikari? How do I find out what is the nature of myself? What is the nature of the Jagat? What is the nature of Ishvara? How do I go about looking for those things? All that was explained in the Vivekachudamani text we studied. So this is called a Prakarana Grantha. It is a supplement to the Shravanam. It is also Shravana Grantha. But you know that elements of doubt are very strong. So few granthas have been written by very knowledgeable people, which focus on these doubts, common doubts that all of us have. Because remember, the process is Atma vare shrotavyaha, Atma vare mantavyaha. By thinking, understanding, doing which are looking at all the other inputs you get from yourself, from what you gain, your own experience, from other people, from other books, how do I reconcile and understand the truth? How do I figure out what is right and what is not right? How do I see where are the gaps in my assumptions? This process of mananam, which strengthens my understanding of what the Shravan taught me, are really given in some of these granthas called Manana Grantha. One such is this one that we are studying, we are going to study, called Advaita Makaranda. There are others, even more in terms of analysis, like Brahma Sutras, analytical in their nature. Therefore, the assumption is that when you study this, you have already done a lot of Shravanam. Because you cannot do Mananam unless you've done a lot of Shravanam. So the assumption is that everybody who starts to study this would have done significant amount of Shravanam. Remember, in doing the Shravanam, we actually have only one message. Jivo Brahmaiva na paraha. I, the Jiva, is non-separate from, is the same as Paramatma. How am I going to assimilate something like that? So a lot of Shravana must have been done. Because Shravana will present this to you in so many different ways. Various texts will give you various types of perspectives for you to understand this. And then you come to texts like Advaita Makaranda, Panchadashi, which will help you look at the issues that are creating doubts and deal with them. Shravanam tells me, Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahman. Brahman is I am Brahman. Very big statements. I'm trying to figure out what the statement is. And then Shankaracharya writes a very beautiful Jivo Brahmaiva na paraha. Whatever you think you are, examine that and find that there is no difference between Brahman and you. Brahman is absolute Satyam, which means I am absolute Satyam. Brahman is attributeless, unchanging, partless. All the words you use for Brahman, they all are applicable to I. Big statements. Then what about the Jagat, Swamiji? Brahma Satyam and the Jagat is Mithya. What is this Mithya? I have to understand this Mithya. I have to recognize the Jagat because that's where I start. I see this body, mind, sense complex within the Jagat. So I have to accept the Jagat to start with. Accept it as real. That is what all these philosophers I talked about earlier, all of them will start with that. All Dvaitins, Vishishtadvaitins, Sankhyas, all of them will say that. You have to cross that. Yes, it is true, but it is not absolutely true. This Jagat is can neither be classified as the truth, because there's only one truth, and that's Brahman, and that's I. Therefore, Jagat is neither absolutely true nor non-existent. That is called Mithya. So Shankaracharya has one single line saying, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya Jivo Brahmaivana Paraha. Beautiful exposition. But those are words. How do I assimilate those words? I have to do it because my Shravanam has told me something. My Shravanam, over a length of time, has told me, I am Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi. Therefore, I am partless, but I might have so many parts, hands, legs, that, this and the other. That's not I. I am partless. I am never born, I never die. Good God. That straightaway eliminates body, mind, sense complex. When they're all born, they all die. Aham Brahmasmi. This understanding that I have during Shravanam has to be completely changed to a complete conviction that is correct. Which means every single doubt I might have had, over time, those doubts have to disappear. All the shankha that I might have about Brahman itself, about my pramana, about what the message is from the Shastra, all of that, I have to clear all doubts. Then I have to understand, because I should know that we said everything other than Brahman is mithya. So I have to find out. Already Viveka has told us how to inquire into this. Who is eligible for inquiring into this? How to look at the aikyam, Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. To do all of that, we have this text called Advaita Makaranda, which like I said, is a Manana Grantha. Very small text. There are only 28 verses in this. The first verse, which we've been repeating, is the prayer verse. A beautifully written prayer verse, we will see. And the last verse is the concluding verse. So 26 verses. Very beautifully explain to us how to do Mananam. Although it's a small text, very powerfully written text. Because the author of this text is one Lakshmi Dhara Kavi. He's a Kavi. And you know how Kavis are. They see more than other people do. And they also present it in a very alankara form, a beautiful form in the language. That's how you get big Kavis, including Indians, other Kavis, Wordsworth, Bharatiyar, all of them are Kavis, Kabir. Because they see something and they're able to present it in a way which is beautiful to read and beautiful to analyze and understand. The very first verse, the prayer verse, Kataksha Kirana Chanta Naman Mohabdhaye Namaha Anantananda Krishnaya Jagan Mangala Murthaye. I'm sure Swamiji will talk a lot about this. This construction itself, the Sanskrit, the way the compounds are created. Very, very nice. I said this invites people who have done a lot of Shravanam. Now, there may be some of us who have done some amount of Shravanam, some of us who have done much, much more Shravanam. So you will find that some of us may require more patience, more commitment. Fortunately, we are using a format which suits us beautifully. The format we're using is open for discussions at any point. We will read the text as explained by Swamiji, and who does the reading can also talk about his or her understanding of what he or she has read. Others are open to put in their inputs in there as well. We all have a lot of experience behind us, and we have made a lot of assumptions and conclusions. So we can bring in those in these discussions. If there are doubts, we can raise the doubts, and we can clear them right then and there. Therefore, despite the fact that this is a Manana Grantha, we decided we will use this because many of you have already done quite a bit of Shravanam. And we are going to use a format which is not lecture format, which only allows everybody to look at each aspect as it is presented, can open it for discussions. I would definitely encourage every one of you to not shy away from asking, to not hesitate to ask, oh, I will look like a fool. No, you won't. These are meant for our understanding. If there is an element which is not clear, raise it, open it up, discuss it, clear it. The word Advaita Makaranda itself is interesting. Advaita, without a second, does not mean there is only one Brahman. There is no second. It's important to understand the difference. Advaita is no second. There is only one. Brahman is only one. Anything which we say exists is Brahman only. Therefore, that word itself is to be clearly understood. That one does not have many different groups. I cannot say one Brahman is there, another Brahman 2, Brahman 3. That cannot be there. Nor can I say that within the Brahman there is part A, part B, part C, part D. There isn't. Nor can I say that Brahman and there is something else. There is non-Brahman, non-Brahman. There is no such thing. No differences at all. Sanskrit these are called no Svagata Bheda, no difference within itself because it's partless, Abhyaya. No difference between other members of the group because there are no other members. You don't have a Brahman 1, Brahman 2, Brahman 3, etc. Nor do you have today's Brahman and next year's Brahman or last Janma's Brahman. There is only one. Nor can you say this Brahman and then there are all the non-Brahmans. They go Vigata Bheda. You have Vijatiya Bheda. Swagata Bheda within itself, no differences, no Bheda. Then Svajatiya Bheda. Within the Jati, there is no, you can't have, I can say tree is a Jati, mango tree is different from coconut tree, which is different from tamarind tree, for example. No such differences because there is no other element. Nor can I say it is Vijatiya Bheda. There is no Brahman and there are other non-Brahmans. There are no such thing. A Brahman is not there. So this Advaita is being brought out and it's so beautiful. It is like honey. Makaranda means honey. this nectar of Advaita, the Amritam of Advaita, because it is Advaita, Amritam. Like a bee will go and sit on a flower, not damage the flower in any way. There is probably a micro drop of honey deep inside. It reaches deep inside and gets that small miniature drop of honey. That's all it does. But that honey is beautiful. I don't know if there's anybody who doesn't like honey. Advaita Makaranda, there's nobody who's not likely to not like it. So this Advaita Makaranda as a Manana Grantha brings up all possible doubts and removes it, because we have to have 100% conviction. You know, I don't know how many of you have done bungee jumping. Anybody done bungee jumping? You know what they do, no? They take you high up somewhere and then they tie a piece of rope, it's elastic rope, and they say jump. So you ask him, how sure are you that this, I will not let me down and I'll fall down? He said, no, sir, I'm sure. Are you 100% sure? More or less, sir. Has that ever happened that this is broken and somebody has got hurt? Sir, it happens maybe once in 1,000 times. Will you jump? Will you jump? But once in 1,000 times is enough to stop from jumping. Same thing. When you do Shravanam, any iota of doubt we are saying, let us try and remove. I can't say that I have only 1% or 0.1% doubt. Shravanam says, Aham Brahmas. And my first question when you start this Shravanam is, how can I be Brahman? I'm Alpagnya, Alpashaktiman. If you say Brahman is Paramatma, is Sarvashaktiman, Sarvagnya, knows everything, can do anything. How can you say that I'm the same? So the first thing is to try and change that from there. These 26 verses will hopefully help us change to asking, how can I not be Brahman? I have to be Brahman. There's no other possibility. That is Mananam. That Mananam we will do by reading through this text with Swamiji's book in hand. Swamiji is a past master. He brings out the beauty of these things. And even in bringing out the beauty, we might find that there are some things which are not easy to grasp, both in the way it is structured, both in the beauty of the language, and in the concept that it brings out. I would urge patience. If it is not clear immediately, please raise your hand, either physically or through the Zoom, whatever they're called, and stop the reading and ask questions, discuss, but clear everything. When we started the first class, Anand made an announcement that this will be a highly interactive class. And here I am, 2 classes, I've only been talking. I have not let anybody else talk. This is called setup. You go to any factory and that fellow will proudly show you around the factory and say, oh, this machine to produce whatever product is producing, 1,000 products every minute. You ask him, how much time does it take to set up making this product? Everything has a setup time. Everything. You go to get an MRI, that fellow will say, sir, whole thing will go in 20 minutes when you will finish it. How much time do you need to set it up? Another half an hour. There is a setup time for everything. Then only this thing will work. So this is all only setup. After this, I stop talking. The floor is all yours. So has everybody got the copy of the book? Is there anybody who doesn't have a copy?
Swamiji, I think many don't have the copy. I have I have sent the soft copy of first few pages of the text in the WhatsApp. I can also put it on the screen if it is easier for us to read from there.
But I hope you're all organizing to get your own copies.
But Anand, isn't it just the Moolam?
No, I shared it before the class. So I also I can share it in the screen. So
Okay.
You can order in AVRPT. They've sent it in 2 days' time.
I hope those who don't have, please order. It'll take 2-3 days for them to send it. You can go to the AVRPT site and order it. Yeah. Okay.
I think Swamiji Anakatti Ashram is getting more copies.
Yeah.
So he told me that
whoever can go to the Anakatti Ashram and get it.
He says whoever wants can call me. I will directly post it.
Yeah. So Ashokji has offered to mail it to anybody who doesn't have a copy. Some people who are not in India may have a little challenge, but AVRPT will also send it to you wherever you are. So I can see here who is there. Where is our Singapore people? Nobody here.
Jayarajan is
here.
here.
Others are there. Others have said they won't be able to come because they have other issues, but they will be joining us shortly. So they will have to organize to get it either directly from AVRPT or through any other source. I have not got my book. Give me a half a minute. We'll bring the book. We have a few minutes. We will start.
Anand, I think you can post that AVRPT website link in the group so that somebody who wants, they can order it from there. Yeah, I ordered. I got it in 3 days.
I also got that in 2 days' time.
Swamiji, just for benefit of people who are not in India, maybe if there's a difficulty in getting the physical copy, soft copy can be availed from Swami Dayananda Saraswati, Teachings of Swami Dayananda Saraswati app. So the book can be brought from that app itself. So again, that's an option.
One more suggestion that if you are having 2 devices, in one you can follow the class, in another one Sanskrit documents.
Correct.
There
to make it easier, if you use the same device, you have a little challenge on that. Okay, we will read the introductory thing today.
Swamiji, should I put it on the screen?
This is on page number 1.
Should I put it on the screen?
Today, who do the Shuklam Vardhan Vishnu?
Swamiji?
We don't have too much time today. We'll just read the introduction.
Preface or?
Page 1. Advaita Makaranda, Swamiji's introduction.
Yes, Swami. Shall I read, Swamiji?
No, next.
Shall I read, Swamiji?
Yeah, sure. So you can also make it bigger, Anand. Make the font bigger. Yeah. Please do. We're
4 minutes.
Not the preface. Swamiji said page number 1.
Yeah, page number 1.
Yeah,
I'll read. I have
this is the page.
Go below.
Advaita Makaranda of Lakshmidhara Kavi.
Not the preface. Leave the preface alone. You can go straight away to the. Yeah. Please read.
Advaita Makaranda of Lakshmidhara Kavi is a very beautiful work. All that we have discussed in the Bhashya on different occasions and in different contexts is presented here in beautiful verses. It is a very beautiful, balanced book. Lakshmidhara Kavi has also written one more book, Bhagavan Nama Kaumudi, about the Mahima of Bhagavan Nama. These are the two works that we know of by the author. I happened to see this at a bookshop in Haridwar. I went there to buy some books, and then I saw this book right in front with the title Advaita Makaranda. I had never seen it before. I picked up the book and read the first two verses. They were very attractive. I bought the book, and then afterwards, I taught the people who were around. I found that as you proceed, it is very, very beautiful. Afterwards, I found that this book can be a book that can top the whole teaching, which included so much Bhashya study. At the end of it, without all the Pura Paksha Siddhantas, which are all necessary just to give the essence of Shastra, I thought this would be the best book. Thereafter, I taught this Advaita Makaranda as a text at the end of every course, like Tattva Bodha in the beginning. Advaita Makaranda at the end, because this ties up all the arguments that were used for eliminating doubts with reference to the vision of Advaita. It opens with a very beautiful prayer in the first verse.
Okay, I had a couple of points even as you're reading this.
So,
one, you will notice because it's a Moolam, the text, there are no Purvapakshi argument like you would see in the Bhashyam. In all the Bhashyam, somewhere or the other, there is a Purvapakshi's argument which we discuss. The second thing is, Swamiji says this is what they use at the end of the study after studying mini Bhashyam. Now, like I said, many of us have done quite a bit of Shravanam. And because we are following a format which allows us to stop and ask and clarify, I thought this would be a good text to follow Viveka Chodamani. Yes, Divyanshu, you had a point.
Swamiji, I have two questions. So, on the second line, Swamiji is saying that we have discussed in the Bhashya. Which Bhashya are we talking about?
No, this is because Swamiji would have done several Bhashyas. Not that you and I have discussed. This is Swamiji speaking of all the Bhashyas that he had done. Typically, initially you will do Bhashyas of Kathopanishad, Mundakopanishad, Ishavasya Upanishad. Those are the initial ones we would normally do. So people would have done some of those already, and this sort of the icing on the cake. Generally, what happens is some introductory text like Tattva Bodha is often used as the initial text to clear up some of the words that are used commonly in Vedanta. Yes, Padmashri.
Om Swamiji, can you give some background about Lakshmidhar Kaviji, because I have never heard about him?
No,
Next class.
not much is known about Lakshmidhara Kavi. There are a couple of works that I've seen of his. Swamiji talked about this Ishwaranama Kaumudi. It talks about, and in Kali Yuga, that is probably the best thing to happen, Ishwaranama, Bhagavan Nama. But he's obviously, as you will read the text, you will see how he brings out the beauty of the language in these texts as well. Yes, Divyansh.
Swamiji, one more question. Here, like Swamiji is saying that he used to begin with Tattva Bodha and end with Advaita Makaranda. But since it's a Mananam text, shouldn't we have some Nididhyasanam towards the end of the course?
Correct.
And Mananam before?
Correct. Mananam will clear all the doubts. Nididhyasanam is meant for assimilating it as. See, Nididhyasanam is one where we look at gaining the knowledge aprokshataya. Clear all the doubts about what is Brahman. And that becomes clear, Abhyaya, etc., all those words you see. But to understand that Brahman is I, you need to have Nididhyasana. So that's something that happens later. Actually, this is not the last. After this, you do Brahma Sutra. which is also a Manana text, but it's called a Siddhi text. That and a few other texts are there, where the arguments and the logic is very strict. So you do that, and in the process you do Nididhyasana. Nididhyasana, simply put, is the deep contemplation of all that you've heard during Shravana, and this have been cleared during Manana.
Swamiji, and I think there's like no text which is only Shravana text, only Manana text, and only
No.
Nididhyasana. So it is always.
When I say, for example, something like our Viveka Chudamani is a complete text. It talks about what is Adhikari. It talks about how to analyze self, how to analyze Ishvara, how to analyze, and it also then talks about how to understand the Aikyam. So it's a complete text.
And even this one has the second verse itself says Ahamasmi Sadavami, which is a line for Nididhyasanam itself. So
yeah, at this stage, what we are going to do is to examine those words and say what kind of doubt that it might address. Sure, Nididhyasanam is part of the whole process. So we'll continue in the next class. By the time, hopefully, all of you will have your own books, and we will continue from the first verse, which I find absolutely beautiful. We will see this. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.